But let's move into Jackson Arnold. I just mentioned he got to start the bowl game this last year. Connor, you and I were there in person and watched it. Obviously, some turnovers and it didn't end up on the scoreboard the way that we wanted it to. But what do you think of Jackson? He's obviously a generational talent, straight out of Denton Geyer, right? He's got all the tools. And it was baffling to me when I kept hearing people say, hey, the reason Dylan's leaving isn't because Levy's out. It isn't because this or that. It's because Jackson Arnold. So you're sitting here talking about the consensus all Big 12 quarterback in Dylan Gabriel deciding to leave and go to Oregon because we've got a guy in Jackson Arnold that's that much better. So talk a little bit about what you've seen out of Jackson and what you're excited to see out of him.
Yeah, as far as, the reason Dylan left, we'll probably never know. I don't know if he'll ever come out and say exactly why, but I mean, everyone can assume it's because there's this young freak behind him that, he's going to get handed the keys to the castle and, it's kind of move on or kind of get run over in that situation. But, since his first game, he came in against, it was one of our early season opponents, completed 11 of 11 passes for a touchdown, ran for another one.
Hey, that's hard to do. Trust me, I know. That is extremely hard to do.
It doesn't matter who you're playing. I don't care if it's, Alabama or whoever we were playing early in the season. It's tough to come into a college football game, especially as probably 18-year-old kid and put up numbers like that. Played in 6 games last year, I believe. So got a bunch of really good playing time. Got to play the whole second half up at BYU, which was a close game. He, kind of first experience, on the road. And then the bowl game, showed a lot of really good things. Through the ball, he's got some zip. He's definitely has arm talent. I think everybody who watches him can see that. Threw a bunch of really good balls. I think of the one in kind of the back corner of the end zone where he kind of threaded it in. We had a toe tap touchdown there. But yeah, the intangibles as far as, what you want in a quarterback, he seems to have those. And, it's kind of this offseason for him, especially spring ball. It's, the things we've been talking about. It's, Dylan's moved on, get that locker room to, kind of rally around him. He's got to be, the player's player. He's got to be that guy. He's got to be that emotional leader on the field, off the field. He's got to set the example for all the other guys. Because, he's not the oldest guy in the room by any means. We got some older quarterbacks on the roster, but, he's got to put those pants on and lead the team. So you talk about, kind of what you've seen from him, things you like, and again, things you kind of want to see coming out of this spring.
Yeah. Well, so I've got a list here, and this applies to everybody we've talked about today. The intangibles, and this is not a exhaustive list. This is just a list that I put down of what I think that all these guys that we talked about, and then also Jackson embody to some degree that allows them to be great. And they're in no particular order, but I'm just going to go through them and I'll say check if I think it's a home run that Jackson has. And then we can talk about it if we don't think he's quite there yet or we just don't know because we haven't had enough time. So first and foremost, natural talent and natural leadership. I think obviously we mentioned it. Natural talent, the guy's got all the natural talent in the world. He was unbelievable at Denton Geyer. He's got, the tools that he needs to be successful from an arm strength standpoint, can put touch on the ball, can run a little bit. He's got size. He's got stature. He's got pocket presence. He's got all that. From a leadership standpoint, what you mentioned, Connor, we can only hope that that's what he's doing right now. So I'll give that one a check. Next is confidence. I think confidence is the biggest attribute as a quarterback. And all the great ones that I've been around, all these guys we've talked about, the Johnny Manziels of the world, so on and so forth. When you see those guys and their cleats pass over that sideline, that white line onto the field of play, they believe that they're the best player on the field. And they go act like it, and they make everybody around them better. I see that in Jackson, and that will continue to improve. So check there. Accuracy, you mentioned it, 11 of 11 when he came in as a true freshman. He throws a very accurate ball. Check there. Pocket presence, I mentioned it. This gets better with maturity in college football, right? I think he already is very good in that department. He's got size, so he can withstand getting bumped around a little bit, but moving in the pocket and still being able to keep your eyes down the field and deliver the ball, I think he does have that. So check there. Infectious. We talked about Baker a lot in this department. Is he infectious? Are his habits infectious? Is the way that he plays infectious? Is he going to get involved in the crowd? I think some of the greatest players out there, they have a way of just getting the crowd involved and getting a stadium full of 80 to 100,000 people fired up. So I'll leave that one as a to be determined, but I think he has the ability to do so. And then finally, even keeled and battle tested. You mentioned the BYU game. I think he was battle tested there and he stayed very even keel. I think that he's got great demeanor about him. We use that word a lot in the QB room, having great demeanor. I think he's got all these tools that I have written down.